Olivirio Mambala Buanibia. Olivirio Mambala Kanyiga Ichila. Veke Swafai. Umumini Wai.
Imagine standing on the shores of a strange land. Your chains freshly removed, but your freedom still stolen. You look at the faces beside you, your brothers, your sisters, your people. Behold the chains of our ancestors in Biafra's dark history. And then, instead of running, instead of fighting, generations of our people endured the agony of slavery. In chains, they toiled under the sun, crossed the dark waters. You turn and walk calmly into the water. Not one, not two, but dozens, maybe hundreds. Holding hands, singing, disappearing beneath the waves. This is not a myth. This is not a legend. This is the chilling and powerful story. They took control of their ship and chose mass suicide in Dunkirk, a symbol of resistance. Men, women, and children were captured across West Africa. Many from what is now Nigeria, particularly among the Igbo people, were captured and sold into the brutal transatlantic slave trade. Their journey was one of immense suffering and resilience. The Igbo were known for their strong spiritual beliefs, independence, and resistance to oppression. Captured and sold, they were forced onto a slave ship called the Wanderer Slave Ship. The journey across the Atlantic, our people, chained in darkness, crossed the bitter sea. To a land of sorrow, their spirits endured. Known as the Middle Passage, was hell on earth. Chained together, starved, beaten, stripped of identity. The dark holes echoed with the cries of the shackled. But something unusual was happening aboard this ship. Thus, the Igbo captives were not broken. They were planning. In 1803, the ship arrived at St. Simon's Island, off the coast of Georgia. The enslaved Igbo were sold to plantation owners. They were loaded onto a smaller vessel to be transported inland. In ancient Black Biafra, our people were captured, chained, and transported across the seas to endure the brutality. This is where the story takes a dramatic turn. In the grim era of slavery, the Igbo people endured unspeakable hardships. Somehow through courage, strategy, or desperation, the Igbo revolted. They overpowered their captors. Some accounts say they drowned the slave traders. Our ancestors were stolen from their homes, chained, and forced across the sea. Others say they forced the ship aground. The history of our enslavement is a tale of profound suffering and resilience. But what happened next remains one of history's greatest mysteries. Instead of escaping into the forest, instead of hiding, they were captured and chained, their freedom stolen forever. Yet their legacy endures. The Igbo people walked toward the marshy waters. eyewitness accounts passed down through generations, bound in iron, their spirits chained yet unbroken, whisper through time's veil. From shores to fields, their silent cries endure, a haunting echo of stolen lives. They walked together, calm, silent, determined. Some say they sang. Others say they chanted in Igbo language.
One of the most powerful legends claims they said, "The water brought us, the water will take us home." And then they kept walking into the water until they disappeared. Historians and scholars have debated this for over 200 years. Was it suicide? Was it spiritual resistance? Or something deeper? Among the Igbo, there was a strong belief in the spirit world, a connection between life and afterlife. Some believed death was not the end, but a return home. Others believed enslavement was worse than death. So this act may not have been surrender. It may have been defiance.
A final act of control in a world where everything had been taken from them. Here's where the mystery deepens. Bound in chains, their spirits chained. Toil under the sun, a legacy of pain. There are multiple versions of the story of the enslavement of our people. Each version tells of suffering and resilience. We must confront them all. Some say dozens died. Others say hundreds. Some claim a few survived. There are even legends that the Igbo didn't drown at all. They walked across the water or flew back to Africa. These stories may sound mythical, but they reflect something powerful. The refusal to accept slavery as destiny. From the shores of our homeland, through the dark holds of ships, we rise unbroken. Our heritage is our freedom. Written records from the time are limited and biased, often told from the perspective of slave owners. But oral history tells a different story. Woisenan tells a different story. The story of Igbo Landing has lived on for generations. It has inspired songs, folklore, literature, and films. From the depths of pain came enduring strength. Our songs carry the weight of history. Our stories will never be forgotten. The history of Black Biafra is marked by the brutal legacy of slavery, where millions were chained and transported across oceans in horrific. One famous example is Lovecraft Country. In the dark hulls of the slave ships, our ancestors endured the Middle Passage, chained in agony. But legend tells of a miracle, as some walked on wars, unbroken. In African American communities, Igbo Landing became a symbol of resistance, pride, and unbreakable spirit. From ancient Biafra, the spirit of resistance was born. Through spiritual power, the ancestors endured. Their cry for freedom echoes through the ages. It reminds us that even in chains, the human spirit can remain unbroken.
It reminds us that even in chains, the human spirit can remain unbroken.
Igbos were captured and forced onto ships. In the ship's hold, their suffering was immense. At Igbo Landing, they chose to walk into the water. Igbo Landing is more than history.
It is a question. What does freedom mean? What would you choose if your body was captured, but your spirit was still free? The Igbo people made a choice that still echoes today. Not submission, not silence, but a final, powerful act of resistance. And that is why their story will never die. Behold, the ancient Black Biafra, a tale of sorrow etched in the chains. If this story moved you, if it made you think, then carry its truth forward. Behold, the chains of our ancestors, the markets where souls were bartered, the fields that drank our sweat. Then you already understand why it must be told. Because history is not just about the past. It's about truth. And some truths refuse to stay buried.